So you start off with American values over autocracy. So let's talk about that. Christopher Wray stepped down today in what I think a lot of people would describe as complying in advance to an incoming autocrat.
Autocracy, a form of government in which one ruler has all the decision-making power. So the incoming president is an autocrat, huh? He's going to assert his decision-making power with an iron fist. Tom Holman catches up with Felipe in a laundromat washing machine. Daddy Trump, should I send this one back or nah?
Well, he could have stayed and fought, and so there is some disappointment on the Hill. But I do have great respect for Christopher Wray and haven't always agreed with him, but I think he's been a principled FBI director and stood up against far-right extremism as best he could repeatedly.
Christopher Wray, FBI director that Trump picked, called him up, said, "You're my guy." He accepted the job and then went, "No, I'm not," then proceeded to raid Mar-a-Lago. About 30 FBI agents went through Melania's stuff to find documents to which the president had the right to have in the first place. It was his prerogative. It was his documents. Side note, Biden authorized lethal force during that raid. Moving on.
One of the sort of core values of America has been the welcoming of immigrants, right? It is written on the Statue of Liberty. What you're now seeing is the Trump administration, the incoming Trump administration, saying that on day one, they're going to allow ICE to enter things like churches, mosques, funerals. There are religious organizations that are pushing back on that and saying you're just violating the sanctity of the church. Schools being able to, stop immigrants in front of a preschool.
Explain to me how we don't value immigration. What we don't value is people who break the law. Glad to know you do. And you might say, well, it was just a teeny tiny little law they broke. All they did was walk across the line. It's like stealing a pack of gum. Congratulations, Mother Teresa. You just cost the U.S. 10 million packs of gum.
We need a strong, a safe and secure border. And we should try to figure out how we can come together as Democrats and Republicans to enact comprehensive immigration reform and make sure that we are continuing the promise of America as a nation of immigrants, but also as a nation anchored in the rule of law and secure the border.
So I'm confused. Are we anchored in the rule of law, but we're just going to ignore all this gum theft, huh?
Is it realistic to even think about doing some kind of legislation with the Republican Party, which is now a MAGA party, and they want immigrants out? They want the mass deported.
Not immigrants, criminals.
Well, I think the American people have consistently made clear that while we understand the need, and it is appropriate to make sure that violent felons who are presenting a risk of harm to everyday Americans and who are here unlawfully should no longer be here. While at the same period of time, we should be focused, of course, on those violent felons and not families.
Not families, criminals. I think he hit the nail on the head there when he said those who pose a risk of harm. Because as I previously covered, if those immigrants who are harbored by politicians cause harm, those politicians themselves can be sentenced to death under the U.S. Code. It's the only thing these scumbags care about, not the immigrants.
And not even just in the House. Donald Trump has appointed two essentially billionaire bureaucrats, one near billionaire, Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, to head what essentially is a blue ribbon commission. It's not an agency. It's not part of the federal government. But they're going to be making recommendations. They could be deregulating their own industries, giving themselves deregulation and tax cuts.
So I can't find the video, but I am going to mention it. I don't know if it was Fox News or where, but basically they said that Doge put out a list of things that they were planning to cut. One of those things affected Elon, and that makes it clear that he doesn't mind to lose money in this deal. What do you say? Offer me money, offer me power, I don't care.
What about one of the members of the CBC, James Clyburn, very august member, clearly. He suggested that one of the things that maybe Joe Biden should do is pardon Donald Trump. What do you think of that?
Nobody cares what you think. Joe, do it. On your last day, somebody get this message to Joe. We all know you voted for Trump. Jill wore that bright red pantsuit on Election Day. They screwed you over. For the love of God, pardon Trump. The reaction of the left would be more wonderful than this.
What do you feel?
In terms of the pardon discussion, and I stand on the shoulders of Jim Clyburn, and so we've got nothing but the greatest degree of respect of Jim, and I haven't talked to him about his thinking in this area, but do look forward to getting his point of view. But my view has been, listen, you've got a lot of low-income Americans of every race, but disproportionately African Americans and Latinos who've been overrun by the criminal justice system, particularly nonviolent offenders who were caught up in the failed war on drugs.
So Biden is only pardoning people who are victims of the war on drugs. Gotta get this name right. Shin Lin Jim. 47,000 inappropriate child images. Rita Crundwell. $53 million embezzled from a small town in Illinois.
President Biden has to evaluate these things on a case-by-case basis, but at the same time, go as big as possible.
Yeah, go big, Joe. You have got to pardon Trump. I will take back like at least half of what I've said about you.
House Republicans, the incoming president, Senate Republicans should not count on us to bail them out unless there is a responsible spending agreement that meets the needs of the American people in terms of their health, their safety, our national security, and the economic well-being of the American people. There is no big, massive mandate to jam far-right extremism and right-wing policies down the throats of the American people. Let's be clear.
Let me be very clear.
Let me be clear.
Now, let me be clear.
These guys are flailing. They have no House, no Senate, no presidency, no support with the American people, and G.I. Jane here may be losing her job because NBC's been put up for sale. Yeah, there's no big mandate, huh? Popular vote, all 7 swing states, House, Senate, presidency, every single state without exception shifted to the right, and people are tired of your crap. If you like what I do, please leave a like, they really help. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.